From the department of If You Can't Beat Them, Join Them, we bring you Russell Baze. That's right, Russell Baze, who has won 400 races 4 consecutive years, at least 400 races, that is, and is on pace to do it once again. We're talking about the San Francisco Handicap, which is Saturday's feature race, a 4-horse race featuring Petit Poucet, Megan's Interco, Ranger, and the horse Russell will ride, Time Star. Now, in Time Star, Russell, this horse beat you in the Golden Gate Handicap when you rode San Reef. Now you ride Time Star in the San Francisco Handicap. You've never been on this horse, obviously. Do you look at the racing form and formulate your opinion, or do you wait for the trainer, Neil Drysdale in this case, to give you instructions?
Well, I'll do both. I look at the racing form, form my own opinion, and then if Neil comes up or Simon, whoever he sends, comes up and tells me, they want to try something different, or my opinion is completely wrong, then I have to do what they tell me, or at least try to do what they tell me, and then most of the time I can hit pretty close to what they want to do just by my own calculations.
You've been at it so long and had so much success. Races like this, a grade 3 race, do they get you more pumped up?
Oh yeah, it's always exciting going out there, for a major race like that.
Right, especially when you have a great shot with like a horse Time Star. The race is a 4-horse field with a Megan's Interco, Petit Poucet, and your horse. It would appear to be 3 solid candidates. Do you ride a race like this any differently than as opposed to a 7, 8, 9-horse feature?
Well, there's 2 ways of looking at it. One, in a small field like this, there's very little chance that you're going to get in trouble. Mm-hmm. So, you're not going to have the traffic problems you might have otherwise. But on the other hand, each horse is going to be able to run his best race, probably. The speed horse isn't going to have a lot of pace in there pushing him. The come-from-behind horses aren't going to have a lot of traffic problems, So you've got to really stay on your toes, pay close attention to the pace, and, hope you've got the best horse that day.
Russell Baze won this race in 1994 aboard Journalism. Last time, he rode a horse named Ranger, actually not in the San Francisco, but when Ranger last raced, Russell rode him. We're going to meet with Ranger's trainer, Jeff Bondi, later. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of Bay Meadows Operating Company, we welcome you back to Bay Meadows. We also would like to send out a special thanks to the teleracing fans taking in our signal throughout the vast Bay Meadows satellite network. Fans directing your attention to the winner's circle, here are members of the Bay Meadows Jockey Colony. We start with Eclipse Award-winning Russell Baze. Russell is joined by Tom Chapman, Agapito Delgadillo, Roberto Gonzalez, Chris Hummel, Adalberto Lopez, Pedro Mercado, Rafael Meza, David Noosh, Jerry O'Gain, Ken Tohill, and Ron Warren Jr. We thank the jockeys for heading to the winner's circle, and we thank you, the fans, for joining us for opening night tonight at Bay Meadows.
That last race will be my last ride today. I'm getting kind of weak in the knees, so I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you very much.
Bill Shoemaker.
Chris, we want to ask you about your mount in the Bay Meadows Handicap. That's our subject at hand, and certainly Silver Wizard. A nice horse. You've only had a chance to be on him once, but you can probably talk a little about the horse that only beat him by a length that day, and also about the trainer, Neil Drysdale.
Yeah, he's a very nice horse, and I did just have that one opportunity to ride him, but the day I rode him, Neil wanted to try a little something different with him, because in his two previous races, which were actually his first two starts in this country, Delahousie rode him, and he was very rank and kind of running off in the first part of the race. And Neil, when I rode him the day, the third start in his country, Neil wanted to see if the horse would rate. So he asked me to just kind of grab a good strong hold of him leaving the gate and try to ease him back. And the horse pulled pretty hard, and he never really settled much for me. And he was laying fourth, just a couple lengths off the lead, and that's kind of where he finished. He just kind of ran one pace after that, and I think later on Neil just decided, well, he's probably more of a free-running horse, just kind of like let him do what he wants. And he's really progressed very well. That was about a year ago that I rode him, and he's come on to win some pretty nice races.
In fact, he's won some very nice races. Drysdale has prepped him very well, and it would seem that this, his second race back off the layoff, probably going to prep him for some big races at Oak Tree.
Well, that's not my idea. And my idea is to go out here and win this race. If it's a prep, yeah, I'm sure it's the kind of prep that Neil would like to see him win, and not the kind of race where, he expects the horse to get tired or anything like that. If he's shipping him up here, he's shipping him up here to win, and I'll be very confident in the horse.
And in fact, let's talk about that a little bit. Neil Drysdale is a guy who doesn't just ship around just to do it. When he goes out of town, or even when he stays in town, his interest is winning.
Oh, no question. Neil's a very good horseman, very sharp, and he doesn't run a short horse, and I'm looking forward to riding him.
Now you, speaking of Neil and shipping around, you do a lot of shipping around. You fly all over the country and get on horses all over the country. And I'm just wondering, I'm married, you're married, you have daughters now that you told me are half grown up and driving. I'm just wondering, tell us about how riding and the strange schedules that we have here in this race business, especially for you as a jockey, how does that affect the family life?
It can adversely affect you sometimes. As you mentioned, we race on Saturday and Sunday, and my kids are off obviously from school on Saturday and Sunday, so we're kind of like ships in the night. We don't see each other, but we know they're there, and we're passing each other all the time. But you just have to make necessary adjustments that is going to be in the best interest of everybody. Whenever my wife and I have a chance to spend good quality time with the girls, we do, and I'd like to think that we've done a pretty nice job at raising them and everything, but it gets difficult at times, like you say, with my hectic schedule. I do quite a bit of traveling throughout the year. This year's slowed down a lot for me, which has been kind of beneficial because I've been able to get my business back going again. But my wife and I took our three daughters up to Yellowstone National Park this past July,
And I tell you what, that really recharged my batteries. I was getting a little run down, and we went up there and spent 8 days in that area, and we rode. We rented some horses, believe it or not, went horseback riding. We rode up into the mountains and spent 3 days out under the stars, 3 days and 3 nights, and we just had a blast. It was incredible, and as I said, it recharged my batteries and gave me a new lease on life.
Well, it gave you a new lease on riding, it seems, because certainly you've always had your share of stakes victories, and those seem to come, well, not easily, but often enough for you. But for you to win a riding championship again at Del Mar, tell us about what that means to you.
Oh, that was so much fun. It was really exciting, right down to the last race on the last day. Ironically, I was riding against Corey Nakatani. He was on a favorite for one of my best clients, Ron McAnally, and I'm riding the second favorite for his father-in-law, for Corey's father-in-law, Wally DeLassy. So it was strangely ironic how it turned out that way, but the horse I rode, called Helmsman, ran exceptionally well and won the race pretty easily. Took a little bit of the drama away from it at the 8th pole when he opened up so far. But I tell you what, I've been fortunate enough to win a lot of titles throughout my career, but I can't remember one that was so exciting to win and that had so much emotion and so much. The atmosphere was really electric. As you probably read Jay Privman's article in the Racing Form about the whole event, and I've never seen so many people so excited about that particular jockey race. It was a thrill for me, having won so many titles in the past. It was still a huge thrill for me. It was just like, not quite like winning the Kentucky Derby, but it was very exciting.
And is that a special meet for you to win it at Del Mar?
I'd like to win any meet that I go to, but winning meet titles has not necessarily been my goal in the last 5-6 years. I've scaled back the number of horses that I like to ride simply because we race 52 weeks a year. To go full bore like Russell Baze does up here and ride as many horses as Russell does, that's an incredible feat. I mean, he's like Cal Ripken, for crying out loud, just keeps going and going and going. That takes an awful lot of work, an awful lot of determination, an awful lot of love for what he does and what we do.
You did it for a number of years.
I did, and I quite frankly, I got tired of it, and that's the main reason why I decided to scale back. But halfway through the summer this year down at Del Mar, I was having such a good meet. I told my agent, I said, let's go for it. Let's give it a shot, and fortunately it worked out well.
And the interesting part is that your agent, for the first time, took on another rider, your good friend Alex Solis.
Yeah, that's right. He took Alex's book towards the end of Hollywood Park, and towards the end of Santa Anita, and Hollywood was a real good meet for him. He finished up real strong. He was second and was really winning a lot of races in the last 2 weeks. And I thought Alex had the best chance of being leading rider down at Del Mar because I anticipated Nakatani going out of town quite often. He didn't really travel that much, but before the meet started, I thought he'd have a lot of out-of-town engagements, and I thought Alex would be kind of staying home, taking care of business. And I was pleasantly surprised when I found myself in the winner's circle.
Now, with this little bit of time off, you have a break somewhat during this time. You're still going out and getting on horses in the morning, but the Los Angeles County Fair is running, so you probably get a little more chance to spend time with your family. And I suspect spending time with your family, your wife, is as well as you are, and both involved in the Don Macbeth Memorial Fund. Tell us a little about that.
That's right. I am taking a little break right now, and this break has given me time to catch up on things that I didn't get done while I was down at Del Mar, bookwork and that kind of stuff. But it does give us time to sit back and try to organize some of the functions that are coming up for the Macbeth Fund. We have a golf tournament sometime later this fall that's going to be sponsored by a Mercedes-Benz company down there. Let's see. We had a terrific team penning event down at Del Mar. We had right on the grounds in the arena. We had a team penning event consisting of one jockey, one celebrity, and one paid participant on each team. There are 3-man teams, and we had 15 of those 3-man teams. And we raised about $40,000. And the best thing was everybody had a blast and was really looking forward to doing it again next year. And that's what we like to hear. We want to hear people wanting to come back to an event. So that was a big thrill for us. But my wife and Tim Conway are the ones that got this fund started, and we just wanted to create a safety net for the riders who get injured and have no place else to turn for financial assistance. We want some place for them to turn, you know, some kind of a safety net to fall into so they don't fall through the cracks, so to speak. You know, people look at the standings and they see Chris McCarron and Delahousie and Stevens and Russell Baze and, you know, Ron Warren. All these riders are making a lot of money. Well, we're in the small percentage group of riders that really do make a good living, and you know, we'd like to take care of the guys that are less fortunate than we are.
And I know that the Don McMith Memorial Fund's doing a good job of that. Chris, thanks very much.
Thank you very much.
And good luck today.
Thanks, Jim.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, go ahead, Paul.
Okay.
We're rolling now.
3, 2, 1. So Jose, when you moved here from Southern California, did you expect your success to come so quickly?
Well, that was one of the things that me and my agent were looking forward to. We're expecting to get a lot more horses, and from there on try to develop myself as a better rider. To be honest, I didn't think I'll be challenging Baze for the lead or even be in front at one point for 15 races. But we took it as it come. You know, we got lucky that the first few days we banked a few winners, and from there on it seemed to just take off, you know, and I've been holding my own ever since then.
Now, before you moved up here, you said that you saw the Northern California races on television, and all you saw was Russell Baze winning every race. So that was a little intimidating when you came up here, right?
Well, in a way, but you know, I've always come here with an attitude that I want to make myself as a better rider. I want to get to ride as many horses as I can, and if there's someone, you know, who's established themselves here, and if I have the opportunity, I like to give them a little challenge, you know. And that was the case the first few weeks of the meet, and as you know, Baze is dominating. Like Sam Spears said, at one point I was up by 15, now I'm trailing by 20. So, you know, it's just a matter that I'm happy with my accomplishments. I think I'm getting my share of rides, and from there on, I just keep taking it as they come. You know, I ride my hardest every time I go out there, and if I can beat them, I'll try to beat them, but I've learned to be also a good loser.
Coming into tonight, the eve of the Golden State Derby, we only have 3 more days left in our meeting. You would have to say this has been the most successful meeting of your career?
Yeah, I'll pretty much say so. This one, along with the Pomona meetings, you know,
Right.
I won the riding title there. And from there on, every single meet that I've attended to, I've been very fortunate. I was at Hialeah when I first began to ride, and in only 2.5 weeks, I was the 3rd leading rider there, trailing by only 5. And ever since, you know, going into New York, coming to Southern California, I've been very blessed to be riding good horses and getting my share of winners as well.
You're 21 years old, and all we've talked about so far is success. Let's go back to your mid-teens. You're from Lima, Peru, and in 1989, when you're in Peru, it was a country full of terrorism and political unrest. 3,000 people that year were killed because of terrorism. Your family lived right in the thick of it then. What was that like?
Well, I'll tell you, we're going through some tough times. Like I say, universities of which my sister began to attend, they were going on strike because, you know, terrorism taking over and different things like that. And that was a point where my dad decided, you know, to come out of Peru, you know, for our sake, try to get better at school. And the main thing behind all this was the education for us, you know, trying to get better schools to go to. And that's when we decided to make the move to Miami. I can say that I kind of miss a lot Peru in the way, you know, we were raised there and everything. But, you know, we just learned to live the American way. And, I mean, there's no way I can regret that move. I mean, all that I've accomplished here, it's been a lot. And some of the things that I could have never accomplished back home.
Now, let's talk about your father for a second. He won over 1,000 races in Peru and was one of the greatest jockeys in the history of the country, correct?
Well, so they call it at least.
Right. Now, having those kind of genes in your family, do you think that caters to your profession?
Well, it helps me in a way. What it did for me was that since I was a little kid, all I knew was about horse racing. To me, that was life, you know. I remember a lot of times being punished and my dad telling me not to go to the races, and somehow I would just find a way to sneak out of my mom's back and I'll end up going to the races either way. But since I was a little kid, to me, horse racing was my life. As you know, my uncle here, Fernando Toro, rode in Southern California. Now I have an uncle that's been the leading trainer in Peru for the past 13 years. My grandfather holds a record of training night horse derby winners. So the whole family was involved in the racing business, and that's all I can remember since I was a little kid.
Speaking of leading trainers, the greatest trainer in the history of Northern California, Jerry Hollendorfer, says he feels confident to put you on a horse anytime because you don't make mistakes. Now, that's Jerry Hollendorfer saying that. How does that make you feel?
Oh, well, definitely. I take it as a big compliment. As you know, Jerry's very hard on riders sometimes, But, you know, I mean, we're all human. Sometimes we're going to make mistakes. You just got to try to and deal with it. And whenever you go out there, one thing that I've always remembered from the great riders that I've talked to, all you got to do is concentrate for 2 minutes at the most and really think what you're doing out there. You know, pay attention to things that are going in the front end as well as the back end. And other than that, you know, like, as you know, the better rider makes the less mistakes, and that's what will get you to the winner's circle, I guess.
You're 21 years old. You've been from Peru to Florida to New York to back to Florida to Los Angeles to San Francisco. At 21, can you even really appreciate that?
Oh, well, definitely. I've come to a point where I don't take things for granted anymore. I've been through so many racetracks and ridden with the very best. And, you know, I just pray to God and thank Him how blessed I've been to be riding with the very best and for the very best. I mean, I'm at a point that I've accomplished so much. Some kids would like to earn in a career, you know. And right now things keep looking better on the horizon, so I can't complain at all.
Things are going very well for you right now. Do you have any dreams or aspirations down the road? Maybe winning the Kentucky Derby, winning a Breeders' Cup race?
Well, definitely. As you know, Kentucky Derby is one of the biggest races, getting the Derby horse as well as the Breeders' Cup horse. But, you know, I'm just taking it day by day, and one of my long-term goals will probably be to establish myself as a Southern California rider at some point, trying to be in the top 5 spots, you know. And also down the road, I'd like to finish my college career in the pre-med corner of studies. And, you know, those are 2 kind of goals that I have on my mind, and I'll just take it day by day and see if someday I can accomplish them.
Given that things are more settled in Peru now and there's not as much political unrest, and given how successful your family is there, have you ever considered going back and trying to maybe start a career there?
No, not really. I mean, like I said, you know, I've gotten very used to the American lifestyle, and I really like it a lot. Like I said, I've accomplished so many things that I couldn't have been able to do back home, even with our family background. I would love to go back and ride an international stake race for my uncle, be invited to ride a few races, but I wouldn't think of much as going back to make a career out of it, you know. As you know, purse money is a lot different, and just the prestige to ride here in major American tracks is nothing compared to South America.
As a 21-year-old experiencing this success, you have to put a lot of hours into it. I know you're at the racetrack at 5 a.m. when you come here, then you ride in the afternoon. Is it all work and no play for Jose?
Yeah, pretty much I would say so, you know, especially as you know, we got the Friday night, so we get home about 12:30, 1 a.m., and then the next morning we'll still got to get up and go to work and then ride. So Saturday evening, you know, I'll be a lot more tired rather than getting ready to take a shower and go out dancing. And on Monday and Tuesday, you know, I'll just relax, take care of things. I lived my life when I was in college, you know, I did my partying and stuff like that. And right now, my riding is one of the main things that I'm being focused on, so I don't want to take the wrong path, you know. I'm just trying to stay focused. But every now and then I'll go out, you know, and do something to try to keep my mind leveled off, you know.
You've ridden with Jerry Bailey, Jose Santos, Mike Smith, Lafitte Pinkai Jr., Corey Nakatani, Gary Stevens. You've ridden with the best jockeys in the country. Do you learn from that just by being around them and watching them?
You definitely do. You know, all you got to do is just pay attention whenever you're riding out there.
Any great jockeys I left out in that little statement?
Excuse me?
Any great jockeys I left out in that little statement? And then?
I think so.
In Maryland? Laurel, Pimlico, and Bowie, or was it a training center?
No, Bowie not anymore. I know Laurel was open then.
You like it up here?
Yeah.
Living up here?
Yeah, yeah.
Takes a while to adjust, huh?
Yeah, it takes, but like I say, you know, I've been
no
fortunate just to keep
asthma.
riding. Oh, it's great.
Is it really?
It's great for the asthma.
What is it now? Okay. Okay, 3, 2, 1. In your brief career, you've ridden with jockeys like Jerry Bailey, Pat Day, Mike Smith, Eddie Delahousse, Lafitte Pinkai Jr., Gary Stevens, greatest jockeys in the history of racing. What have you learned from those guys?
Well, I've learned a lot. I've learned kind of sense of pace, how to get a horse to relax, make him switch leads, and little tricks that kind of we don't tell, you know, that we do out there. But it's just a very good experience, and all just a matter of, you know, paying attention to what they're doing. And also a lot of the riders that you have mentioned, I mean, you go to any track, just like right here at Bay Meadows, and you have guys like Russell Baze, Rafael Meza, Ronnie Warren, just to name a few. I'm sorry if I'm forgetting all the names. But, you know, you have some great riders at every single track, and, you know, for some other reason, they haven't been able to make it to any other tracks, but they're good riders. And like I said, if you pay attention, you can learn a lot riding with them.
Horse racing is a sport where fan participation obviously is very limited. You don't go to the corner and ride a race where you can go to the corner and play basketball. Take us into the body of a race. What's it like there with 10 horses in a race going 30 miles per hour? What's that thrill like?
Well, I'll tell you, it's a rush. Whenever we're loading inside the gate, I don't know about other guys, but at least me, I forget about everybody. I forget who my dad is, my mom, and it's just a rush. As soon as you're in the gate, well, you're thinking, well, I got a speedy horse, I got to use it to my advantage, or I got a horse that comes from behind, so I'll break and sit and see what's going on the front end. And like I said, all you're doing is just concentrating, paying attention to horse around you, and you trying to save a little horse for the end. And I'll tell you, the last day of them all, if you're battling it out, you better get down and dirty, you know, and try to get your horse up there.
And when you come into the winner's circle, that's your chance to exhale.
Definitely, you know, you feel like you've accomplished something. I mean, that minute and a half that it probably took you out there, you know, you really give yourself a pat on the back thinking, well, I did my job, I did what I had to do, and I also had the horse to do it.
Just a couple things on. I'm curious, at your age, do you run into other 20, 21-year-olds that are, you know, like doing their college thing, and then you're telling them, you ever have a conversation like, well, what I do is I'm a jockey, you know what I mean? You ever get that question posed?
Yeah.
Paul, you know where I'm going
Okay,
with that?
yeah, I'll try it. Okay, ready?
Rolling, go.
Jose, as a 21-year-old, do you have friends who are your age? And if you do, okay, wait, I'm sorry, let me do
you
that
run
again.
into friends or have a conversation with, you know, your peers
All right,
away from the track.
2, 1. When you associate with your peers away from the track and they know you're a jockey and you tell new friends you're a jockey, what's that perception like? It's obviously not your average everyday job.
Well, not at all. As I can remember when I was back in New York, while I was riding during the daytime and an afternoon, I would go to college at night, and at first I never made any deal about me being a rider or said anything about it. But as time went on, a few guys that used to go to the track, you know, they saw me before. They came up to me and asked me, and it was something different because, you know, a lot of people don't realize that, you know, we are as riders. I mean, we look just like every other person, and for them seems to be a thrill, you know. And I really enjoy it. I enjoy sharing a lot of stuff that I've accomplished here at the track. But it's something neat and different. I've also keep in touch with some of my high school friends, you know, and they're always asking me how I'm doing. They're looking at the paper, and it makes them feel good in a way to know that, you know, I've accomplished what I've always wanted to do, and for them to see my face on the papers, you know, it's a good feeling to know that they know me, and it's a good feeling for me as well.
Excellent. Good job, buddy, man. That was a pleasure.
Okay, talk to him.
Okay. So, the Las Madrinas is the biggest race you won. What was the expression on your face after you won that?
Well, one of the
Was
things
this jubilant?
I just couldn't believe it, you know. I mean, I was extremely happy. I mean, I had tears rolling down my eyes after
Really?
I crossed the wire. You know,
Who's the horse's name?
Ash Tabula from
Oh,
Jerry
wow.
Fanning. And she was one of the long shots, you know. We're about, I think, 10-1.
Right.
And it was just great when I saw that wire coming to me. I didn't feel any.
Tape is rolling.
Oh yeah, what the hell do you want me to ask?
Russell, so go ahead and just count to 10 for me.
1, 2, 3, 4, 8, 9, 10.
Okay.
You think that's enough light?
That's how my boy counts
That's
to
the
10.
look, man.
Okay, that's the look.
If you can keep them over this way, we're going to be all right. All right.
Okay.
Yeah, that's it. Okay, go ahead. We want to talk about, you know,
Oh yeah,
what
we
is
want to ask him
his
about
experience.
this punk kid chasing them.
Yeah.
All right. First, what's it like to actually get challenged literally halfway through a meet for a riding title?
Well, I've been challenged before. It adds a little spice to things, though. You know, I mean, I think the fans enjoy it. I know the media people really get a kick out of it. It gives them something to get excited about, and you know, and competition is good for the game. I don't mind competition at all.
What about Jose Valdivia Jr.? Obviously, pretty good competitor, young guy, still learning, but to be such a clear second, to actually challenge you for over half the meet, you know, for the title, something special about the kid, I think.
Well, yeah, he's a real good little rider. He's a heads-up rider. He's got a lot of confidence, and he knows what he's doing. The horses run for him. You know, I mean, you just can't ask for any more than that in a rider. If the horses run for him and he's wise enough and heads up enough and confident enough to go out there and do the job, well, that's going to win races.
So now you've ridden Rex next to him, and I remember one specific race where you were on a horse named Sir Reginald, and you just photoed him at the wire.
Reginald Starr.
Reginald Starr, you're right. You're on Reginald Starr, and Reginald Starr just photoed him at the wire. Tell us about that race and riding against him all through the stretch, and then tell us what his best feature is as a rider from what you've seen so far.
Well, that race in particular, he was on a horse named Monogamous, and I've ridden that horse before, and I knew that he didn't want to really try hard. You know, he didn't want to have to work hard to win that horse, and my horse just hung in there real gutty and game, and he just kept pecking away at that horse until he finally got back in front of him, and you know, so it really didn't surprise me that we were able to get back by that one. But you know, he as far as his riding ability goes, he's very confident for a bug boy. You know, I mean, he doesn't get rattled easily, and.
But the single best feature, is it his hands? Is it is the way he sits chilly, or what do you think? Or just his competitive?
Yeah, I think it's just that he doesn't get rattled easily. Like a lot of bug boys, you know, they get shook up and they'll make a too sudden of a move or too violent of a switch of position or change of lanes and throw their horse off. And Jose stays pretty calm out there. You know, he does what he can do, and he doesn't try to do any more than that, and he gets a lot of run out of his horses that way.
Just maybe going back through your years and experience and coming up, any kind of similarities between what he's going through as a young rising star and something that you've been through, and kind of talking to him a little bit about that?
Not really.
Okay.
He's a lot more confident than I was at his stage in the game.
Really? Well,
Yeah.
And why do you suppose that? I mean, do you feel that at your point, losing your bug, that you could compare yourself as a rider to him now?
No, I think he's probably ahead of where I was at that stage of the game. You know, I mean, looking back from where I'm at now, it seems like, well, I didn't know anything, you know, and he seems to be a fairly accomplished rider, so, you know, I think he's probably a little ahead of where I was at that stage.
But he's going to have to ride a lot of horses to catch up.
Well, where he goes from here on in is going to make a big difference, you know, on how successful he is during his career.
He sort of mastered the learning curve. I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of it. At only 21, I guess that's what we're trying to...
Well, see, now when I was losing my bug, I was only 17, so...
Okay.
There is a, you know, I mean, that may be why he has the confidence that he does. You know, I mean, I was quite a bit younger than he is now, but, you know, I mean, he's at a good stage to be a journeyman because he has accomplished, you know, and he has learned a lot in the time that he has been riding.
I want to go back one more time. I just want to go back to that race because I just remember that race very well. Reginald Starr, Monogamous.
You know who got to ride Monogamous next time?
I sure do. I remember very well that thinking to myself, this is it. You know, at some point Russell's got to make a big run at this kid because we were at that point, we were 22 days into the meet. We were still 6 or 8 behind him. And that race came up that day. He won one, you won one, each of you won one easy. And you knew, didn't you, when you hooked up with him in the lane? And does something come over you and say, I might have to teach this kid too?
Well, not that so much, you know, but I just realized the horse he was riding, and I was pretty sure, you know, there was a weak spot in him. If we could keep after him long enough, I was pretty sure we could get by him. And, you know, I mean, all through the lane, that horse of mine, I was just smacking him on the shoulder saying, come on, Reggie. And, you know, he just kept digging in, and then finally the other horse, you know, he wilted under the pressure, and we got by.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
You bet.
Appreciate it. Always appreciate it. On our Friday night show at the beginning of this winter-spring meet, time to take a little time out and talk to the man who runs Bay Meadows. Bay Meadows president Jack Liebau joins us here on Racing at Bay Meadows. Jack, a chance to kind of talk about the things that have been happening here at Bay Meadows. You haven't had this time off traditionally, the December time off, in 30-odd years at this plant. What were you able to accomplish during that time that you wouldn't normally do?
Well, every time that we've opened a new meet in the last 4 years, we've had something new and innovative for the fans. And this meet, we've constructed new boxes. We have in the clubhouse, we put some tables right on the finish line, which frankly are the best seats in the house. We've redone a number of our rooms that are used for group sales, because this is the one area that is really growing as far as live racing attendance is concerned. And I guess that our major impact, if I had to pick out one new thing, it's the graphics package that we've done for in order to show our races on television. And while some of us don't like it, personally me, I have to admit that racing has become somewhat of a video game, and I think that our video presentation will now be up to anything else in the country. We will be on the cutting edge.
So you are planning certainly towards helping the on-track and off-track production of the races on video. But you mentioned all these capital improvements here at Bay Meadows, and a lot of people are of the opinion that Bay Meadows isn't going to be around all that long. The barn situation, what is the status there?
Well, first I'd just like to say that, I somewhat confused as to why anybody wouldn't think that we're going to be around. I know there's been a lot in the press, but in the last 4 years, more than $6 million has gone into improvements on the front side, and I don't think we would have ever made those improvements if we thought we were only going to be here for a short period of time. As to where we stand now, there was a first draft of an environmental impact report that was issued recently, and the authors of that report, like the city of San Mateo, were under the impression that racing could be continued to be conducted here at Bay Meadows with 210 stalls and us banning horses from Pleasanton or Sacramento or Golden Gate Fields. The new or the final impact report should be out shortly. I am pretty sure that we have convinced the city that that is impossible and that we need 900 or so stalls here on track. And I'm confident that that's the way it's going to turn out. And I personally have really been gratified by the support that we have gotten from outside the state of California, as far as people writing and calling the city and explaining to them how it's just not possible to conduct racing on the basis of only having 210 stalls. And we had the racing secretaries and director of racing from Kentucky and Florida and New York and Maryland all rallied to our support in making this case, and I think we have successfully made it. And the new barn should come quickly, we think, as early as May 1, if this schedule that has been laid out by the city of San Mateo remains intact. We will start removing landfill from the infield, and as those that come to Bay Meadows know, our infield is considerably higher than the surrounding area, especially our backside barns and the San Mateo Fair. And so we are going to take land or fill out of the infield and lower there. We will get down to about 2 feet above the water line, and then the barns will be constructed in the infield. I think that our schedule, Jamie, will be that we'll start moving earth in May of 1997, and at that time we will be constructing a tunnel of some considerable size that will go under the turf course and under the main track. We are building one barn at the north end of the grandstand, which is going to house over 200 horses, and I would hope to get that barn built between May and August of '97 when we open, and during that same period of time get our site work and our utilities in the infield and then build the remaining barns, which will be 4 in number, in '98. And that will give us a little experience with this one barn that we're going to build at the north end. And you know, there are always improvements no matter how well planned they are. So I think we'll benefit by that.
Now, so you're talking about a major undertaking here, and you are taking out the infield, which mostly is a golf course, but certainly some families and other people like to go out and spend their time there. Can I assume that once some of that infield or most of that infield is gone, as far as family and patron use, that you'll probably build some other facilities to deal with that?
Well, the 4 barns that are being built in the north end of the infield, say from our tote board north, for those that are familiar with the facility, and the south end will continue to be available for picnics and family outings and things of that nature, because that's a big part of our business. As I said earlier, the group sales is an area that is really growing here at Bay Meadows, and we have to have the facilities take care of those people and make us an attractive facility.
One thing I've always known from you from day one is that you simply have refused to give up the ghost as far as on-track attendance. You haven't just said, well, that's a bygone era.
Well, you know, I may be the last of the Mohicans in this, but I am firmly committed to stopping the decline in on-track attendance. And as far as measuring my own performance is concerned, I measure it by our on-track attendance. And I think that we get high marks, not only just in California, but nationwide, in that our declines have been smaller than most other tracks have experienced. Now, you know, when you are opening up here and you see what's happened at other tracks, you have a little bit of trepidation. Yesterday, we did very well, and I hope that trend continues. And certainly, if we can ever get rid of this rain, I'll feel a lot better than I do tonight, when we're having a free grandstand and the weather reports are pretty dreary.
There are some other things too. Bay Meadows hasn't traditionally, last year they did run it this time of the year, but hasn't traditionally, and now you have 2 opening days usually every year. How do you feel that the split meet situation is working out?
Well, I've always been a big proponent of the split meets. I think that, as you mentioned, you have 2 openings where before you only had 1 opening. I think in this day and age, when we have a lot of traffic congestion, that we all have to just accept that we draw our fans from, say, 10 to 20 miles radius from the live track, and instead of trying to get these fans to continue to come for 100 days plus, we're asking them to come for 40 or 50 days, and then we're giving them a respite for 3 or 4 months, and then they can come back refreshed. So I really think there's a lot to be said for split meets.
Bay Meadows planning on being here a long time?
A long time.
Good. Thanks very much.
You're welcome.
Jack Liebau, president of Bay Meadows, with us. Stick around. There's more coming up right after this.
Here with trainer Jerry Hollendorfer, who on opening day won 5 of 6 Pick 6 races at Bay Meadows, missed sweeping the Pick 6 races 2 through 7 by a head. Jerry Hollendorfer, one of the leading trainers in the nation, really, not just Northern California. I have to ask you this. Did you go to the window before the second and give a consolation $2 Pick 6, me, 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 me?
No, I think I was just trying to concentrate on getting all those horses settled yesterday.
Coming into the day, did you have an idea that it was going to turn out like that, or do you just kind of take it one race at a time?
I take races one at a time, and when I came over for the first race, I was concentrating on that race, and then I take them one by one. Actually, I thought I might have a bad day after the first race, but things turned around, and we ended up having a real good day.
And you're not a guy who really, shows a lot of excitement when things go great. You're pretty, pretty even-keeled, win or lose. The losses don't linger and the wins don't stay very long. But yesterday, after you won the 7th race, you're 5th on the day. I saw you give a little pump. You were smiling. You were having a great time.
Yeah, I was having a pretty good time yesterday, and I thought we had a real good day. And the reason I don't get real excited a lot of times is because I know what the other half is coming tomorrow. So. That's why I try to keep myself even if I can.
Jerry, the leading trainer in Northern California and in the nation, one of the leading trainers, as we said, only has been doing it for about 15 years. And to get to the success level Jerry has reached, you have to have great help, like assistant Jay Warhol. Who are some other people who help you around the barn?
Well, everybody in my barn is real important to me, and we watch everybody really closely and try to make sure that everybody does a good job, from the hot walkers up to my main assistant, Janet, and that's my wife, and she's really my right hand and does a tremendous job, and I couldn't do all this stuff without her. And everybody's appreciated, and I just have great gallop people and good formants and good grooms, everybody.
Now, your success rate when claiming horses and claiming them for yourself or some of your owners is very good, obviously. But let's talk about some of the big horses in the barn, like Traces of Gold, River Flyer, and the Philly Pike Place Dancer, who I understand the Kentucky Oaks champion and Cal Derby champion is on the return.
Yes, Pike Place Dancer's coming in on Monday, and we're going to take it slow and conservatively with her as we have in the past. And I think she'll come back and be competitive in major races again. She's just that kind of horse. Double Jab's a horse that I have coming back off a serious injury, and he worked his second 3/8 today and did it okay. Trace of Gold is pointed to the Brown Bess, and that's about it.
So Double Jab's been away, what, year and a half, 2 years?
Year and a half, almost 2 years.
Wow. So that'll be great. Double Jab was a really talented 3-year-old, and it's good to know that he's coming back. When you're claiming a horse, Jerry, in closing, what are some things you look for when you start to scout out a horse you're going to claim?
Well, everybody looks at the form. Most people are trying to claim horses every day. That's what we do, a lot of us, every day. And so you look at the form, and then you try to figure out if a horse has value, and if the horse is sound, and you try to look through your notes and look at how they're handling the racetrack and just everything. And if you can get a good look at them before you drop your claim, usually we try to do that too, but sometimes you can't do that.
5 wins on opening day of the winter spring meeting at Bay Meadows for trainer Jerry Hollendorfer. That equaled a 17-year-old record set by Walter Greenman back in 1970, and we thank Jerry for joining us.
All right, with Jerry Hollendorfer talking about tomorrow's feature race, which is a nice allowance race at a mile, a $30,000 allowance race. Jerry, you've got 2 in there, and they're completely different types of horses. Tank Magoon, all speed. EC's Dream, your second time with him, he's off the pace. Let's talk first about Tank Magoon. Here's a horse who ran well last time out on the turf, and he's going back to dirt. You think that turf to dirt angle is kinder on horses or a little bit tougher?
Well, I'm not quite sure. I just try to place horses where I think they might have a chance to win, and I'm not real confident about the turf to dirt angle, but I guess a lot of people believe in it for betting on horses, and if they do, then that's fine. I don't really subscribe to it. But anyway, Tank Magoon's a horse coming off a fairly long layoff that really surprised us and ran well, and so we've bumped him up a little bit, and he ran well again, so now we're giving him another chance in an allowance race. And this one fits the time frame, and it wasn't on the turf, so we know that he likes the dirt, and that's why we put him in.
Now, EC's Dream, completely different type of horse. You've only had one chance with him since he was come up from Bill Spar, a horse that really seems like a late runner. And how do you work with him to kind of get him acclimated up here and get him in races over tracks that generally are favor speed a little bit? What do you do with him to keep him competitive?
Well, we're just trying to work with this horse a little bit because at one time he was considered to have great potential, and facing the nuts in Southern California has caused him to tail off. So we've worked with him a long time. We're going to try to put him in against what we think is a little bit easier company and try to see if he can run a good race for Mr. Craig.
Best luck to you tomorrow, Jerry, in the feature race. Tomorrow's feature race here at Bay Meadows. More from racing today at Bay Meadows right after this.
Thanks, James, and we're here with jockey Luis Quinonez, who joined us in Northern California late 1996. The last 2 years, he was the leading jockey during the summer at Canterbury Park. And Luis, first of all, welcome to Northern California. And secondly, being a new jockey on the scene on a competitive circuit, what do you do in the mornings to try to drum up business?
Well, I had to go and show up every day in the morning, got to go and see the people, meet new people every day, and they smile and they say, how you doing, and see if they need help, if they need my service, I'm real happy to hear that, so it's what I got to do. You show up every day in the morning and try to get new business.
How tough has it been for you with the jockey like Russell Baze, Ron Warren Jr. around here? Do you feel that the acclimation process is taking place now?
Well, it is, you know, I mean, they got a lot of nice horses to ride, you know, I mean, I think if I can ride some of those horses too, I can do good too, you know, I mean, I've been in the same place before, you know, where I was riding most of the better horses and I was doing my job, you know, I mean, so I feel like I don't take nothing for them, you know, they're good riders, you know, and they got the talent and they ride good horses, but if I get a chance like that, I think I can perform better too.
Speaking of good horses, Louis rides Turf Cat in Friday night's feature. Turf Cat is looking for 5 wins in a row, and of all the horses you've ridden here, you've won a couple of times on Stallworthy, but you'd have to consider Turf Cat your best horse.
So far, it's been my best horse here, you know what I mean, and I'm very happy seeing tomorrow, you know, and look like he's in a good spot to win again, you know, so I hope we can do 5 in a row, and you know what I mean, I like to be in there.
Well, we thank Luis Quinonez for joining us on Racing from Bay Meadows. James Ough returns with more Racing from Bay Meadows right after this.
Promote racing based on the majesty of the horse as a sport and entertainment experience. Make the facilities more comfortable and emphasize customer service.
We need a team approach involving the fans, the industry, effective regulation, and the support of the legislature and the governor.
The partnership of state track and horsemen has become unbalanced. Owners have begun leaving the business, seeing little chance of viability. This must change or we all lose. Together we can bring racing back.
The California thoroughbred breeding industry is a vital part of the total California economy. We provide thousands of jobs and generate hundreds of millions of dollars in economic activity. We need a level playing field with other states in license fees, incentive awards, and home wagering.
Out with Tampa Bay, he returned to the Buccaneers. Mr. Involvement, Vernon Glenn, is back tonight. The involved one calling a horse race. And here it comes.
Racing, and they've broken a line. Eclipse Del Sol came out fast.
This is Paul Allen's world. And 8 or 9 times, 5 days a week, he's broadcasting fillies and colts as Bay Meadows track announcer.
Hit one for Mom, jumping up and down in second. Retsina's move with a late move on the outside, but it's Eclipse Del Sol home clear. When you put that headset on, and when that last filly goes into the gate and you flick the mic on and you're ready to go, you'll just feel it overwhelm you.
Is that right?
Yeah, it's just an energy and an adrenaline for which people live in this profession, and you will feel that today. Vernon Glenn calls race 2 for you today at Bay Meadows.
Nerves kick in at post time. Why? Well, for starters, no experience. You're just thrown in there, and in moments, expected to rattle off horses' names, jockeys' colors on the fly to the crowd.
In the green, Danette's Haley. In the yellow, Determinella, in the yellow.
Who's leading? Who's lagging? No confusion. 5 fillies, 1 mile, 8 furlongs. And they're racing. 5 just going for it on a fast track today.
And out in front, as they had the clubhouse turn, Danette's Haley going for it. And as they round that first turn, they are still in a pack, and out in front, it is Danette's Haley with the lead. And with
They couldn't throw you an easy one. This one had to be a near photo.
Final pole as they are just going for it. It is Meggles on the outside. On the inside pole, it is Danette's Haley. Danette's Haley and Meggles. Danette's Haley and Meggles. This one is going to be some finish. Danette's Haley, Meggles, Danette's Haley, Meggles. And it is Danette's Haley edging out by a head on top of...
Now imagine doing that 8 more times. At Bay Meadows, Vernon Glenn, News Center 4.
I always gauge Mr. Involvement by Don Lahan, our floor director. Don did not sleep. He laughed throughout, enjoyed it. Atlanta 5, Yankees nothing in the 5th. The Braves will go up 3-1 if they hold on.
All right.
On September 14th this year, female jockey Coco Strauser rode her horse Crazy Tail across the finish line to victory.
Crazy Tail, 25-1 and a shocker.
It was the second win this season for the only female jockey currently competing on the Bay Meadows fall schedule, a tough profession for women.
Extremely tough, yes. It's hard, first of all, to get people to believe in you, to believe in your abilities and your strengths and your drive. And then to just keep going on and getting the better mounts. That's the only way to win. You got to get the better mounts.
She never really wanted to be a jockey.
Until I was ponying Bill Shoemaker to the gate one day when I was about 17, and he said, women should not be jockeys. Right then and there, I decided, well, that's what I'm going to be.
But it's a rugged profession.
People bump into you, they try to knock you off
your horse. Oh, yes. Oftentimes you get hit with the whip by accident, or they bump you into the rail, or it's coming out of the gate. It's anybody's guess. It's a demolition derby.
And how much time does a jockey get to bond with the horse they're riding?
My favorite way to do it is to have never seen a horse. And when a trainer tells me about the horse, and they know the horse, and then they just let me get to know him in that few short minutes in the post parade. I love that more than anything.
They're racing.
I love everything about it. I love the crowd. I love being out on the racetrack. The gate is the most exhilarating, besides the win.
And speaking of the win, watch Coco on Winged Beauty.
Dazzling decor, a length, Winged Beauty working hard. Winged Beauty on the outside takes the lead and wins it. Winged Beauty and Coco Strauser. Race 5 is official. Now entering the winner's circle, number 5, Winged Beauty.
How sweet it is.
Oh, and it was sweet then. Now, Coco rode Mr. Native Justin in the 3rd race today at Bay Meadows, and unfortunately, she came in 5th. But for Coco, there's always the next race. And I brought you two some racing term guides from Bay Meadows.
That's good, because I don't know them.
I don't know anything about trifectas and all of those things, but anyway, for all of you, Mr. Sussman included,
thank you.
A little racing chit there.
Thank you always remember us. Thank you, Ann.
You're welcome.
Now, here's one sure bet.
Oh.
Wait a second. I'm looking at the small print. It says not be used for weather forecasting.
Well,
You're
out of luck.
There you go.
Sorry. On your own.
That's it. Okay.
Sure bet tomorrow night.
Oh, yes, yeah, the eclipse. The eclipse tomorrow night. We'll tell you all about it.